We need to talk.
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 Welcome back to We Need to Talk, episode number 81. I'm host Mr. KOA alongside
Top Boy.
And we have a guest today. What's it? How do you pronounce it?
Shally.
Shally.
Yeah.
And is that like you acting? Do you act?
A little bit. It's like a stage name.
Stage name?
I'm a singer,
Okay.
I'm a songwriter, so
Okay.
I go by Shally.
Cool. How'd you come up with that?
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
My government name and my last name mixed together, basically.
Which are what?
Well, the last part of my government first name is Shah, so it's Aisha, right? So Shah,
Okay.
like Shally, Shah. And my last name, which is, well, it's Shillingford, so I just took a leaf from there.
Oh, okay.
Because people have called me Shah, and I'm like, okay, but Shally sounds cool, and it kind of has like, I don't know, the cadence like a Bruce Lee, Shally, like how you pronounce it, and I
see what
like
you're
that.
saying.
No, I like it. I like
a one name too.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your music or what you've been getting into a little bit.
Sure.
How you started and how's it been going?
It's been a journey.
Realistically.
It's been a journey.
Yeah. Which is good.
I have been singing all my life.
Yeah.
I have been singing professionally. I have been singing my own music since 2008. So recording, shooting videos, and just jumped right in. Recording and writing my own music since 2008. So it's been over 10 years now. Yeah. How's it been going? It's been going well. There's been ups and downs. I would definitely say navigating your music career as a Black Canadian doing Black genre music in Canada is interesting and different, and it's not what a lot of the world would think. We haven't really, it's the infrastructure here is not like the States, so it's very different. But my music has always dipped and dabbled in Caribbean music, so I have done tour dates in the Caribbean. I have done tour dates in the States as well as across Canada, and yeah.
Are you fully independent?
I am, and I've been. Yeah.
Oh, from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah? How's that been?
It's been a journey. And when I say that, I mean, I really do mean that. I didn't go to school for music business. I have read some important books, and that's been very important to do. But my journey's been like a lot of people. I don't know if you've ever heard of Everything You Need to Know About the Music Business. But that book starts with, well, your manager is going to be either your uncle or a coach or someone else who believes that's basically it, to some degree how things happened for me. Now, luckily for me, my manager had been a manager, but it was someone I did know over the years and had seen them doing things. Greg Moore's Planet Rock, big up. So that's how it started. And I started writing my own stuff. I did write poetry. So I kind of made myself write songs, but also I was like, well, nobody's gonna write them for me right now because nobody knows who I am, so don't know what to do, so I better write my own songs. And that mindset kind of trickled into a lot of other areas, and that's where things do get a little bit complicated. And I do feel that what they say, growing your team over time is important, but it also sort of happens organically just by working. You find an engineer, you work with them, you don't like them, then you find another engineer, you keep working with them. After a while, years have gone by, that's your part of your team, So just an example of a dynamic.
So a couple questions. So especially when you're independent, the money part doesn't start coming for a while, right? Have you got to a point where you're like, okay, like I'm starting to get money now, I'm paying my people, or is it still kind of like you're just kind of just putting the time in, people who believe in you? Like, I know there's people who are like, you know what, when I get paid, we all get paid. We all got to believe in the vision and get together. Or are you at a point where you're like, you know what, like you're making some money off some gigs and stuff and you're able to pay your people? Like,
very personal.
I mean, up to you if you want to answer what level you're at, but I mean,
we'll figure out what we keep and what we don't keep.
Sure.
But I will say, that's why I haven't really had a permanently fixtured team except for a few people. And those people have their own movement. Right. So we support each other. So I don't have people that I'm like, you're part of my team and that's all you do and you do nothing else. No way. Because I couldn't sustain those people and
Yeah.
hold them on retainer.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely have not had the budget to do that, but it is a thing where sometimes, when you're paying people, it's not always coming from some master budget. Sometimes it's the money you made from that show being divvied up several ways, because you have a DJ, because you have, if you decide to have dancers or whatever, and not much might be left for yourself. So I've actually kept my shows, for example, very small. It's always actually just me and my DJ. I have done shows with bands, but usually those are situations where it's a festival and they've hired the band. Because any touring, I'm not touring with a band, and I'm not saying that that can't be done. I actually work most naturally with a band. I have a lot of years before I even wrote my own music where I sang with bands. But the truth is that when you're trying to get your name out there, and that can happen for a long period of time, depending, right? People don't want to pay every member of that band and yourself to tour.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
They just want the talent, the amazing,
exactly.
the important person.
So if you make it that you either have a small package or that you have several packages with prices, depending on what the people want, you're giving yourself options. So, and I'm just touching on one aspect of things to give you an idea of how things could work. So it's not always that simple. Dates for things are always sort of general. I'm putting my project out in fall, because you're working with a lot of moving parts and it is just you. And, one issue with one of those moving parts could cause a delay or a problem sometimes. So
all three of us in this room are creatives in different, works of life and the world and the word. Zamora and I both come from a business background as well as a creative background, and we've had our fair share of mishaps and life and brokenness and then money and whatever, right? So we have our different, we've talked about this is episode number 81, so we've talked about our business and our lives pretty extensively, but as a guest, what keeps you going? Like when you're not making money a couple days and a month goes by or a couple weeks go by or a gig falls through that's supposed to work out and now you can't pay for this, and what keeps you going to be like, yo, I'm still gonna keep doing this shit, why not just quit and just get like a regular job? Are you working actually? Are you doing
no?
Okay, no. So yeah, what keeps you going? Exactly. What keeps you going with this shit when shit is hitting the fan and it feels like nothing's happening and nothing's working? Like, why do you keep doing this shit?
Well, the truth is I actually, and I've thought of this before, I do it because I love it. And I know it sounds cliche, but that is the reason why I do it. I probably will be one of those people who will be recording songs and coming up with innovative sounds at 70 years old. Nobody might listen to me at that point, but whatever, Now, the hard part, I guess, is sticking the creative parts together and having the business part roll. You know what I mean? Because the creative part I will continue doing, but the business side of things is very difficult, and it's difficult because learning can be difficult, and you have to assess when it's time to upgrade your shit. And right now, I'm at that place where I just feel like I need to, my online business situation needs to expand, and it has actually been frustrating. And sometimes I've had to, kind of check myself and take some deep breaths. I definitely am on sort of like a wellness journey with my personal life and my body. So just keeping that in mind, but keeping going. I just tell myself I still have a long way to go. I have so much to learn. The fact that I'm talking about expanding my online presence means there's a lot more to go. So I just try to learn from people I find online, meeting people like yourself, even being in a situation like this on a podcast. I'm learning about the behind the scenes of a podcast. So that makes me feel good. As I do learn, I feel like I've attained something and I want to figure out how I'm going to use it. So just putting myself in situations where I'm always learning. And musically, that's me too. I'm not really, I sing R&B. Yeah. And there's just one way of R&B that I sing. I don't really know what that is. I'm always trying things. I know I have a unique voice, so that's kind of signature to me, which is I'm lucky. So I try things, and just knowing that I have a long way to go and there's a lot for me to learn, that keeps me going. But it is sometimes frustrating.
So when did you like make the distinction that you needed to work on the online side?
To make more money.
No, not why. When? Yeah.
Recently? No, I've known for a while, but I feel like the recent events have kind of been like, I don't know, like you feel even more like you have nothing to lose, which is, it can be scary, but it's sort of good. And unfortunately, this is something I'm working on with myself, but sometimes being on the edge actually helps me. I don't want to be one of those people though, who feels like in order to make great music or in order to do anything good, I need to be on the edge or I need to have a gun to my head. I don't want that to be the message.
Like pressure.
Yeah, and I don't even want that. I don't think that's 100% healthy. But I've had certain circumstances in my life, especially early on, where I kind of learned to be that way a little bit.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when things like this happen, I don't know why, it's like everybody stops and everything stops. But for me, I feel like it's, safe to try this now. You know what I mean? Let me try this now.
I think that has something to do with our perceptions of, 1, ourselves, 2, people, 3, especially in the era we're in, social media has a big thing to do with it. And I want to ask you a question because I brought up your account just to do, it might be embarrassing for you, but it's actually perfect for this question. So Shally sings, Shally, right? Shally? Shally? Is that
y'all better bring me back on here after this.
Shally or Shally?
Shally.
Shally.
Yes.
Okay. Shally Sings has a verified account on Instagram.
Oh boy.
With 54.6 thousand followers. Give me a brief, very, very brief explanation of how you got verified and how your life has changed, been the same or increased when people see your account that don't know you, for example. Because there's obviously a social media effect of like, oh, you sing? Yeah, I sing. Let me see your account. Oh, you're verified. Oh, 50,000 followers.
I can't wait to watch this video after we're done because...
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been asked, how the heck did you get that to happen?
Sure.
Well, first of all, I will honestly...
And is it different for you?
Yeah, and I'm going to answer your question, but I do need to give a little disclaimer.
Go for it.
When it comes to social media and everybody who's in the game, you guys know what I'm talking about. When you start, there's a million ways to get this and to get that, especially when it comes to followers and things like that. But there's a lot of better ways to do things.
Yeah.
And the behind the scenes of your social media, the actual interactions you make with real people
is what
matters the most. Now there's many ways to make interactions with real people on a larger scheme, and you could still make legit interactions. And then there's also ways to make it look like you're making those interactions. So I'm putting that out there. I'm not actually saying what I've done in the past, what I'm doing now.
Sure.
But I feel like I've learned a lot. When it comes to the blue check, that was something that my management looked into getting done. Apparently there was an application. I never seen it. Okay. And then I had a blue check.
Cool.
Now, how do people treat me? Yeah. People actually been asking me left, right, and center. How did you do that? How did you do that? I don't know why they're asking me because I do have a decent amount of followers. I have 50,000 or so followers. But yeah, I have noticed some people have pinned comments that I've made on posts. They pin them, which I didn't even know you could do, to the top of the comments so that people who are coming in can see
know that you commented.
Verified people have commented. Yeah. And I'm just like, I mean, it works for me, but you know, personally, none of that means anything to me. I've seen people are much bigger than me with no blue check mark. So I'm not even sure, what
perception
it really means.
Perception.
But I have noticed, yes, that I have gotten interesting reactions, and maybe I've also taken for granted that there's some people that I've been in cahoots with, conversations with in my DM here and there, and it's possible they've entertained these conversations more because they saw that blue check mark.
Absolutely, very possible.
And honestly, I really never thought about it till now. I'm like, well, I mean, obviously past the first few little things, it's a real conversation. People want to talk to you, but that could be why they feel safe. Some of those interesting people, comedians, models, you know who you are.
I mean, we talked about it in the past couple of weeks about social media behavior. Yeah. And it's
crazy.
I don't know why. Like, you see a blue check mark, people start acting different. Like, that's just the truth of it.
Real different.
So despite the personality that you have and, you know, how nice you are and all those things, I think obviously there's always going to be people out there who see the blue, for whatever reason, they see the check mark first. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, I should act accordingly when I'm talking to this person. You know what I mean? And it's
I guess it might give you a little more leeway to ignore things. I have not been ignoring a lot of people. Yeah. Although after a while, sometimes I want to. Because sometimes, you know, I mean, I get requests for collaborations and things like that. And I do usually give us a buffer of time. Like, you know, don't expect to hear anything for 2 or 3 weeks. Because not only do I have to go through it, I have my own project I'm already in. And sometimes I will have to listen to things several times before I can decide whatever. But yeah. I shouldn't have said that, but sometimes
no, it's fine.
No, I just say that because it's, you know, sometimes it gets really overwhelming in the DMs, and
you're human, man.
Yeah,
and isn't it? And
I know I've been ignored too, and when I've been ignored by certain parties, I'm like, well, obviously, you know what I mean? They have a blue check mark.
So this is okay. This is why I wanted to bring this up for a very specific reason, because, like Zumar said, we talked about, you know, social media and the effect last episode. It was the last one, right?
Yeah.
Or the one before it, social law. That was 2 episodes before.
No, was that last 2 episodes? But in the last episode, we went into it again. Okay. Because it related. Yeah.
Last few episodes, you even talked about social media and its impact. Isn't it actually ridiculous how this app Instagram was created by people, right?
Yeah.
With zero rules. When we all joined this app, there was no rules. No one knew what this was. It's a new app. We all hop on this thing, right?
Yep.
As it continued to grow, it started to create a personality. It started to have its own identity, and people started to create these unwritten rules and these written rules and these behavior traits and these non-behavior traits and verbal and non-verbal, and all these things came with this app to the point that, remember when it first was created, there were no verified.
Yeah.
There was no check mark. It was just, we're just people. The celebrities were there. We were there. Like, whatever. Right. It was all just a thing. The first really real way to remove the degrees of separation between regular person and celebrity was Instagram, pretty much. You're like, oh, LeBron James has Instagram. Like, he's right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? It seemed like attainable. Then they created this check to make it this elitism to it, right? To create this, they basically put a purpose behind this check that has now been widely understood now, right? Which it really didn't exist. They created this belief that this now means something, and now people believe that this means it literally. There's people in the room, and they're like, we're gonna start adding checks to certain accounts.
Sounds familiar. You know what this sounds familiar?
Like Black Mirror.
It sounds like money. Oh, it sounds like a lot of things.
Yeah, 100%. And classism, money, it's all the same.
And you know, with all these areas, there's always a way in that isn't the way that is described together.
Yes, exactly. There's always a loophole. There's always a way, whatever. But it's just interesting how, like, they created the check mark, which is a simple idea. They probably sat in a boardroom and figured out, we're going to add a check mark. Cool, make it blue, and that's going to be the thing. And they're all going to understand it. And we do. And now people's behavior has changed towards you, towards others, celebrities, whatever, based on this status that is now associated with you. Even though you may be a nice person, kind-hearted person, now you are now, even though you're only have 50,000 followers, your verified check is the exact same verified check as Kim Kardashian's. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's, but even you with a verified check are classing yourself within the verified check people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And like, actually, I mean, why I said it sounds familiar, I mean, I don't know if this is where you guys are going or anything, if you don't mind, but just being an artist in general, or being put into a category of a celebrity or anything like that, there's things that come with that kind of put you in that level. Just having a camera on you, having you elevated on a stage, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a singer, whatever, it symbolizes something that people, they start to do this.
Praise.
Know? And I know that there's a lot of artists and things that have their ways of balancing that a little bit. But the weird part is that our world is sort of structured that way to like make life. And this is one level of life, and that's the other level of life. And, you know, everywhere, even in just a regular job. You know, you wear
a hierarchy.
Yeah. You know?
Yes.
And I will say that is an interesting thing as an artist to process, because I don't see myself as better than anybody, although I play a role if I'm on stage, let's just say singing.
Yeah.
And generally I try to always talk to the people and sort of break up the pseudo celebrityness, just by.
Do you remember specifically a difference between Shally sings no verified versus Shally sings once you got the check, and how people behave? Do you vividly know this? Like, did you vividly be like, oh shoot, like I have this thing now, people are treating me different? Like, this is.
I mean, I don't see that, not as extreme as I do with just being on Instagram in general, and being on stage in general. Like, when people perceive me as an artist who sings on stage, I get more crazy things from that. Like, just as people assuming that I'm a certain, I see myself as a certain caliber of society, higher caliber, just because I sing and I record and I have an image where I'm holding a microphone, like more than the verified check mark. Because for me, like, I don't know, like maybe there's certain people online that I've been in touch with and I realize that they're really cool, and some of those people I actually have regular interactions with. It's not everybody though, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like about the time of the checkmark coming about was about the time I also became more personally hands-on active.
Interesting.
So I'm not really sure, but I have had a lot of people ask me how I've gotten it, and those people have asked me in a way like, how much you have to pay? What do you have to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe it's because they knew before I didn't have it. I'm not sure. You know?
No, there's opinion, but there's, I think, two reasons why someone would actually ask you that question. Because if we're being honest, I'll bring up Kim Kardashian again. Nobody's asking Kim Kardashian how she got that check.
No.
Right? They're not.
No.
You're like, oh, it's Kim Kardashian.
Anything she would have, yeah.
No, but like, there's, again, like we're talking about levels, like nobody's asking Kevin Hart why he has a check, or Drake, or like, you're not asking these people why they have the check. You're just like, oh, yeah. It
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Someone asking you why you have the check is because it doesn't make sense to them.
Well,
they're trying to justify, and they're trying to understand in their head, why does she have it? And it's like, it goes back to the social behavior thing of people. It could be jealousy. It could be.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, why are they asking?
But again, if they were corresponding with me before and I didn't have it, and then they see that I have it, then I can see, I guess, why someone would say that.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't understand, because I went back after someone asked me that to see the criteria, and I'm like, it says, not to say everybody's, but it says if you have over 10,000 followers, you are a candidate. Now, it doesn't mean they're giving it to everybody, but I'm just saying.
They do that just to
and I have seen a few people with less followers than me, 20,000 or whatever, and they have it. How common it is, maybe it's not that common. Maybe it's more common over 1 million. But again,
that is, first of all, just to cut you off, that is just a blanket statement, and it's also false. Because I know personally people with less than 10,000 followers that are verified. They verify athletes. They verify Olympians.
Yeah.
They verify speaker. I know someone with 3,000 followers verified. It's.
And I'm sure there's people who know people also.
That's what I'm saying. So they have that just to cover their ass, because like everyone's gonna keep asking, like, how do you do this? Because they've created this classism. But what I'm saying is, someone asking, like Zamora is saying, is like, they're really like, one, they're asking because they want it, which is one. Of course. But two, it's kind of like, how? Like, how did she get like?
But you know what has happened too? People have been surprised that I actually speak to anybody, because apparently people with verified accounts don't speak to people. So that's come up.
But I think it's a combination of things that you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Which was, sometimes you just can't get back to everyone. Like.
And you know what? I have to realize that, because I feel bad.
You have to protect your time.
I feel bad, but it takes so much time.
Yeah, but that's not your. That is not your energy to do.
It's not. It's no one. There's no. Okay, he said earlier there was no rules when this stuff was created. Right? There's no rule that says you must respond to everyone, or anyone for that matter, that hits you up on social media. That sounds harsh, but it's the truth. ideally, I will go out of my way to respond to friends, family, like that type of thing. If it's people I don't know, even then, I'll still, if I see it and I have the time right there, I'll respond.
Are you guys only talking to me because my account was verified?
No.
What? No?
I'm just saying.
Not at all. No.
Because
Hold on. Who reached out to who?
don't worry, I don't.
Exactly. Like, it's not a matter of that. Like, it's just.
No, I just try to.
I'm just bugging you. But yeah, no, absolutely not.
You're not obligated to do any of this shit. So it's like, if I feel like sometimes not responding to people when I see not even the DMs, you know, when you see the
request section,
the request, and there's a lot there, I'm like, I don't have the time to go.
The energy.
So if I don't have the time, like, how can I expect someone who's verified, who I know is supposed to be busy, how can I expect them to have the time? Like,
listen, I tried to dig more in lately because I just want to be more online and more in tune and talking to people. But I will honestly say, I can see that it's impossible because the more you do and the more that comes in, you're just like, oh, damn. Like, it's really impossible. But I'm like, what if I'm missing something important? But I honestly will say it's impossible. It's impossible. And the more you want to grow your following is the more it will become impossible.
Absolutely.
So
the way I see it is, if you
the truth is that most people, and you know this already, and I don't always, I'm not going to say it, but most people who have a large following, they don't do everything themselves because it's impossible.
Of course.
But it does often, a lot of things do get processed, but not everything. And what does get processed is often not by the artist themselves or the actress or whatever, Kim Kardashian or whatever. But those people do take a peep in, so don't think they never look. But yeah, because it's impossible. Mm-hmm. It is impossible. How are they going to give you all that content and spend hours creating pilots and demo, and also
going through messages,
and also be checking messages, which would literally take all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's
it just says constantly 99 plus.
Yeah,
it never.
Their numbers are probably just always just up.
Yeah.
And because you're getting messages about nothing, just nothing.
People are saying, "Hey, love you."
Yeah, like you open that, you're like, "Wow, why?" Like, so just didn't want to dig too much into your life, but I wanted to get those questions out because like
sometimes I have actually some of the major people that I've actually worked with, I've met online. Like some of them I've met online. You know what I mean? But I mean, yeah, in that case, usually myself or even sometimes my manager, they would see it, and if someone really wants to work with me, they will even be my comments, check your DM, like they will find me, you know, or find out who my manager is and contact them, or whatever.
So here's something to save your headache right now. Okay. So on your main Instagram page, there's a follow button, there's a message button, and there's an email button.
Okay.
So you made a comment. You said, "What if it's important?" Right?
Oh, which is
one of the reasons why most people feel like I gotta get to everything. Like, what if one of these DMs are so important? I miss it. Like, now what? Like, if it's important, if a director or a corporate lawyer or an agency, it doesn't matter. If they're deep in your DMs, 100 DMs deep, and a director of a company or an agency wants to reach out to you or book you for something, if they want to book you, they will get you. Your email's there boldly on your page. They will send a proper email saying, "Hey, try to DM you. I'm sure you're busy because you have 5,000 followers in the verified check. Probably got lost in your DMs. Here's the email just in case you didn't see it. If you don't see that email either, hey, just hit your email a couple days ago. By the way, probably busy again. I'm sorry, we really want to get you for this." It'll get to you. So missing 50 DMs in your inbox, if I don't see it, I don't see it. If it's something that I need to see, you will find a way to get to me. Yeah. Period. So this overwhelming feeling, I'm like, I need to read everything just in case whatever's in there is junk. Like, it's actually junk. Oh my God, your music's amazing. Thank you. Great. Comment if you want to. Like, amazing. If you want to reach out to me, there's an email there. Stop sending me message. If my messages aren't going through, you're not getting through to me, send me an email. We all have emails. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Make an effort.
However, do you think that there's no value in in corresponding?
Absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm saying correspond on your time when you're ready for bed, or when your day's over, you're done your writing or you're recording, you're having some tea or whatever, chilling. You know, I'll check 20 messages today. Give yourself a number. I will check the first 20 today, then I'm wrapping this shit up.
Okay, well, just to be clear, generally that is how it goes. I don't believe in, first of all, people have to use the toilet. And I say that to say that you don't actually have to be on the toilet for people to not know if you're on the toilet.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with that. And I think like my mom's, for example, she's not always on the phone at all, but I do notice that whenever the phone rings, just as an example, which is similar still, it's not necessarily junk when your phone rings. However, you have an answering machine and you don't always have to answer the phone. If you're in your meditation or whatever you're doing, you have to turn your phone off. You don't have to answer it. So
absolutely.
It is similar.
Protect your time.
Kind of same.
You don't drop your time.
It's harder because you see people,
but they use that. This is the same thing as the more we're talking about. Is like they created this app to instill urgency. They've created these pop-ups to come up, these numbers, these missing this, missed call, 4 requests, 50 follows overdue. Like they created this to continually have you urgent of to like, I need to clear this. I need to get rid of it. I need to clear.
Ryan, honestly, since this COVID thing, I think they've had me on the train a little bit still. I feel like compared to before the COVID thing, I do feel... I just felt like, maybe I need to put more into, but I have felt like that grip more than I did before. But before, I honestly did feel that I felt like I was supposed to do more, but I just wasn't.
I think that's natural though, only because, since COVID started and the whole quarantine, people were just forced to be home. Like you're home a lot, way more. You're going to be consuming technology and social media way more. So it's natural at this point in time that you felt the need to put more time into it. But I think a lot of people are having this realization now that social media is, we always knew it was a drug, but I think people are really realizing how addicting this thing is, because the goal of it is to keep you on it all the time.
And you know what? I've not always been the most patient person, but I honestly think that it's making me more impatient.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like more impatient with things that I can't even do anything about. Sometimes I'm even myself, like just learning stuff.
Listen, Burna Boy.
Yeah.
I think I might have told you. He said something like very profound to me and I've been living by it. He said, 90% of the problems that you have, they're not yours. They're other people's that just bother you.
Yeah, they are.
And it's like social media. Because they ask,
they're not yours.
They asked like, why aren't you really like on social media that much? And he said, because I've literally found myself getting frustrated and annoyed by like things I would see, and then it would make me feel like these are my problems. And it's like that's what social media does. It makes you way more frustrated. And in terms of the impatience, just down to little things like messaging someone and they're on the app but they're not responding to you. Like that, in part of your brain is going to go, why haven't they responded to me yet? I know they're using
you're here.
I know you're here. Now you're impatient,
right? Or
just waiting for something to come along. Like everything
not your issues.
It's designed for you to be there, for you to be on the app, but it's gonna make you impatient, and none of these things are your problems.
Right, even when you don't fully give into it, because I talk to, sometimes I'll be like, Instagram, bye, go away, because and same with like the thing that you said about people responding. Same thing. When I know I've sent somebody something, I'll purposely like move it out of my face on the phone so I don't think about it or see it. But later on you check, and then I'll be like, you know what? They have these settings. Some people have settings where they can set it so that you can't quite see that they read it. So maybe they didn't read it. But the whole point is just the thought process.
Those are all settings they created.
Process alone
is draining.
Crazy.
It's draining. And I have a question for you. Depending on your comfort level, we discuss mental health a lot on this episode, on this podcast between both of us. Off camera, you're mentioning that you had your own version of mental health that you deal with. If you want to discuss it, do you feel this app has made it more difficult for you to process things that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis? Like, based on what you discussed to me, I don't feel like that can help you with there's a lot of things happening, a lot of pop-ups and this and this and that. It's up to you if you want to discuss it, but I can already assume that is not conducive for your day-to-day.
Okay, well, I'll just talk. I actually have no problem talking about mental health. It's something I am an advocate for. I will mention a few things. So I mentioned earlier off camera, ADD. I am not formally diagnosed with ADD, so I don't want to, give advice or I'm not a doctor or anything like that. However, there have been important people who have suggested I get certain testing done because they're pretty sure. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So
assuming that I do, and there's a lot of other people I've observed. I've read some books, and so I've been able to do a lot of observing. And I anticipate that there's a lot of people who have ADD that are undiagnosed, especially now. There's even more of it now.
Of course.
Yeah.
Which says a lot to what you're saying. So yeah, definitely. And actually, I never put a lot of deep thought into this, to be honest. I'm pretty sure if you have issues with a low attention span and remembering things and just keeping focused on one thing for a period of time where you're not distracted, I'm pretty sure that the way social media is designed, if you're on it too much, I'm pretty sure that that's not helping you. So
no, definitely not.
I actually enjoy YouTube more than, even though I'm actually on Instagram more as a presence. I enjoy YouTube more because I learn a lot of things, but I do find that, like TV, it can be similar, where it's just taking your attention.
Yeah.
Like I fall asleep with tutorials on YouTube, and actually be relaxed and fall asleep. But you wake up, and are you feeling at ease? Are you feeling relaxed? Things like that where your brain is racing. I don't think that the social media and constantly being on it is helping. And it's not just because of what you're looking for on social media. It's like you said, all the ads and things that are pumped into your subconscious that you have to click off of constantly. It's taking your attention constantly. Like every video you click, your attention is constantly deviating, even from the thing that you're trying to learn on YouTube, because of that, the way that is set up.
The system.
And it's different than TV in that TV, when the commercial is going to come and you focus on the commercial. But in that, there's so many different things and pop-ups and all that. It's actually, it can make your spaghetti brain a lot worse. And that's just one aspect of mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about.
I was going to say, this is interesting to me because I know how the nature of social media works, but I feel like, so like one of my friends, he's actually diagnosed with it, right? And like I've known him for like nearly a decade now, and it's interesting because before he told me that he was, I kind of I would pick up on it because we'd be talking to each other, and then 2 minutes later he would just walk off and go do something else in combo, and then he'd come back and he disclosed it to me. But he was saying that, similar to what you said, obviously social media isn't conducive to the condition, but the way his brain works is he doesn't even necessarily recognize it because it's constantly just.
But that's working for him.
No. It's not work. It's not that it's working for him. It's just basically it operates the way his brain already
Got you.
does.
Yeah.
I understand.
Whereas for people like us, I think it's actually making our brains think constant changes are
normal,
should be the norm. Right. Because I don't want it to come across like how he thinks is not normal. It's just I know the way his brain processes things is the way that social media is pushing. I know what you mean.
Constant shifts in patterns.
And I used to, which I mentioned earlier about getting impatient with social media. I used to be impatient when I would look at it. I'd be looking at a friend's post and the page would refresh when I didn't want it to. I would be pissed because I'd lose what I was looking at. But I know for a fact now when that happens, I'm no longer annoyed. I'm just what am I looking at now? It's what's the next thing I'm looking at? And I'm just conditioned to be this way.
And actually, one thing that even watching videos in their entirety, I do that much better now. And what made me do that is stop, because I used to listen parts to a video and get excited and just send it to certain people automatically. And I realized that when I did that, I'd stop what I was doing and then I'd go back and just watch another video. A lot of times I didn't finish the video, but I don't do that anymore. I don't do that.
I know people. I've definitely done that once.
Yeah.
I know.
Just send the video
Now
and
I
then watch
actually
it.
don't do that anymore, and it's because I made a rule for myself that I told myself it's wrong. I said it's wrong to send someone a video with content that you don't haven't 100% even gone
Like partial.
Yeah. So I tell myself I watch the whole thing, and I also tell myself you don't have to send. It's again, it's the same sort of knee-jerk, anxious, impatient reaction. You don't have to send people something that you're excited about. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You can actually just be excited about it, enjoy the moment for yourself, and just leave it at that.
Yeah,
but we're so used to sharing
the moment.
In fact, we don't even capture the moment fully before we share it now. We just...
That's real. That's
and
real.
I get like all 15, 14. There's certain people that send me, some of them are older people. This is the funny thing. Send me like all 15 messages a day, every day.
Yeah.
Unsolicited?
On WhatsApp. Just different things they found that people send.
Unsolicited.
Could be prayers, whatever. But there's so
WhatsApp,
many.
of course.
And I'm like,
Where are they coming from?
I can't do this.
And you're like, where are these coming from?
Yeah. And I started to think, was I doing that to people? So this is a good conversation, and it's actually making me think, because like you said, I, like your friend, I never really thought about what that was doing to my brain, really, I have noticed my increased impatience, though, especially when it comes to learning. But that's very, very interesting, especially considering the babies are born onto this stuff right now. Like they're born onto it.
I would love to actually talk to someone on the podcast who was born in 2000. So
like their experience.
So they're 20 now. So they
had social media in high school.
Because it's very, even though, what, you're 2 years older than me?
Yeah.
So for us, it'd be a 10 and 8 year difference between someone who's born in 2000, which doesn't seem like such a dramatic thing, but the way technology turns over,
that was the year.
I mean like the rapid growth of technology.
Okay.
They say, imagine like a piece of paper folding over itself, right? Like technology does that like 20 times in 1 year. So it's like the jump from 99 to Y2K when everyone thought the world was going to end, right? It's like those people were just born in that year. Yeah. So by the time they're 10, I remember that's around the time when Instagram became a
2010.
thing. Around the time, I know Snapchat was a thing. Like I know social media was around.
Yeah, it's actually good. We'll find. I mean, we can easily find somebody. But
it's like a case study.
Well, it's become more and more interesting to, I guess, both of us now, because like I feel like to an extent we're both trying to separate ourselves from social media, but at the same time we use it as a tool for our business. Yeah. So it's like this balancing act of like, don't let it consume you, but also utilize it for its purpose. Yeah. So it's like it's becoming a case study, because it's like obviously I benefit from the app, but I don't want to be consumed by the very thing that makes me money. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we're so here. And
so it's
actually,
like,
sorry if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
On. A lot of people assume because I'm on social media so much that like I'm one of those people, if I didn't need it for business.
We just said said the same thing.
To the background. Don't get me wrong, I know that's weird because I perform and I sing on stage, so that
it has nothing. No, it has nothing to do with that.
To be honest, and even the way my social media is pretty. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. The way I'm so comfortable. I feel like I'm just in a room talking to you guys.
That's good.
Which I am. If you look at the way my social media is, and it will likely change quite a bit in the next 6 months, it's obvious that I'm that type of person. It's actually obvious. I use it for work. I have made some valuable connections on there. But I don't wake up like, oh my God, what's going on, guys? I got to check every social media. Like, I really want to know. Like, I don't feel that way.
So that's the biggest difference between people who use social media as creatives and people who use social media as
consumers of our creativity.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm like, we aren't like, I actually don't know. I can't take myself out of it because I am myself, but I don't know. How would you use the app if you weren't creating on it? I don't know what
if I wasn't creating to put work out there. I would have to be someone that just follows my friends. Like that's
But what would you be doing though?
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I think I would do if I wasn't a creative. I would literally just use the app. I'd barely be following anyone,
Right.
and it would just be my friends.
Yeah.
Right. But there's people out there who have the app and all they do is just kind of creep and consume everything. And I talked about this the other week. Like, there's people that I haven't seen since high school that know everything about what I'm doing creatively, but I haven't seen or spoken to you since high school. So how do you?
I can't even.
So how do you, like? To me, when I hear that, that kind of takes me back a bit, because I'm like, hold on, you haven't seen me in 10 years, but you've silently been consuming everything that I do without so much as a peep. You haven't said, "Hey, what's up?" Because you don't think
Isn't
you don't
everybody kind of doing that though? Maybe not to that
because-
extreme where they're ghosts.
I say
but-
no because there's people from high school that I don't follow. I'm like, it hasn't crossed my mind to be, oh, let me see what little Michael from high school is doing today, 2020. Like,
It's just
That is happening though. I mean, I've met people that, especially early on, I don't know why, I just thought nobody really knew me. I just thought people only knew me if they saw me at my show because I saw them, right? But I have had people come up to me and recognize the symbol of me, not even knowing my music or anything, just being like, seen you, and they'll say the name, and they recognize like the picture of me, and they recognize that I look like that picture, and I just thought that I did find that kind of strange, and I just thought, like you said, more people. It's always this way, but it's to an extreme now. More people are always watching you than you think. But now, thousands of people could be watching you more than you think. And you don't have to be a celebrity or a pseudo celebrity or even try to really be a face. You don't even have to be. People just fixate on things just like anything else. And you could be that thing.
Yeah.
There are people I know, like, to your point, I know there's plenty of people out there who know who Ryan is. Never met him, but they know him as if they know him. I've literally shot, like, just been shooting or just walking down Queen Street, and I'll never forget this. One time, a dude drove by in his car with his boy and says, "Yo, Top Boy, what's up?" I had no clue who the man was, and I thought it was so, like, it didn't make me feel uncomfortable. It was weird because I was like, I actually don't even know who that was. I couldn't say anything.
I feel like we're hypocrites though.
With what? In what sense?
I don't know, because it's like we're creating the stuff for these people to consume.
No, but I'm saying that
like we want that.
See, I don't know if
you know what I mean?
I'm not saying
if it doesn't happen, then
see, Zamora and I are different in the sense where, like, before I was doing all the creative stuff I was doing, I was an athlete. So I've been on university teams. Like, since I was a kid, I've always been the best player on my team, and I've been used to being seen in public. So, like, I don't find that part weird when people are like, oh, that's Ryan, Mr. KOA. Like, that part I get it, because, like, you know, when I'm playing ball, people are like, yo, that's the number 24 from that school. Like, I've been used to that type of stuff. What is strange to me is that, like, just I can't actually conceptualize how I would use the app if I wasn't creating on it. I actually generally can, like, I don't even know what I would do if I signed on to my account and I wasn't a creative. If I just had an Instagram account, I don't actually know what I would do with it.
Do you look at other people's profiles?
No. Like, if that's
pretty amazing.
That's not, like, I don't actually search.
So there's no algorithm of things that pop up for you.
No, like, of course I look at girls and people and stuff. No, but but that's all I would, like, it would literally just me. I would just be this app, honestly.
That is all.
You know what? I have that perfect answer. This app would solely be a dating app.
It'd be your Chicktionary.
That is literally
be your Chicktionary.
This app would solely be a dating app. I wouldn't care about guys. I wouldn't care about stuff. I wouldn't be, like, following. Like, it would literally be like, if I want to go see.
Do you go into people's lives? Do you ever do that?
No, not really. No, unless if I know them personally.
None of the big celebrities.
No. I don't even know if I've ever been to a celebrity's live, to be honest.
It's a very healthy mind
but
there.
No, it's not. It ain't healthy. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, the girls. Back to the girls.
It would literally. This app would literally be me. Like if I was single, just like searching girls, and then come off, and then come off.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, I guess
that's a whole. I think it's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
What that does, just the scrolling like you're on a catalog grocery of people's butts or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just slipping through pages. And
even what these people actually do behind the scenes, you know, it's not always what you think at all, and some of it is sad actually.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird.
It's interesting.
No, it's just
It's interesting shit.
It's kind of funny, like how this is the third episode in a row we just ended up on this topic. We can't get off it.
So it's like so much. There's so many layers to it.
Because like, and this kind of
it's a different layer every time.
This relates back to like the relationship side of things, right? Because, you know, Sean mentioned catalog, like, you know, just scrolling through and seeing it, and I know I've been through it, and I know you've been through it, where you like a girl's photo, right? And now all of a sudden there's a meaning to that like.
Yeah.
You know, people say you like this photo of this girl, that means like you like her. Mm-hmm. Right? But I think for a lot, I can speak for myself, I can just like the photo, and because like, how is it that if we live in a world where on social media where I scroll and everything just changes in my mind quickly, why is it not acceptable that I can like a photo of a woman and literally just move on to the next without there being some meaning attached to it?
You go first.
Nah, here go first.
Yeah, I won't let you. Cause do you get what I'm saying?
No, I understand. I
know why.
The only argument is really because you have now stopped.
No. But do you see? You weren't listening to what I said. I know for a fact. I know you've done it. Yes. I know you've probably done it. If I like, there's plenty of times where I scroll through my Instagram, I like and literally move. Like I like and flick.
Yeah, there's autonomous movements for sure.
But that's what I'm saying.
But they're not all autonomous.
Okay, of course they're not. But you can't tell me that like every like
absolutely
on
not.
The opposite gender, you fully stopped and observe forever.
Absolutely not.
Right?
But they're only arguing the ones that they think are.
No, they're arguing anywhere you like the opposite gender.
But you know that's false only because if it also there's a portion of that has a threatening aspect to it, because I know for a fact there are girlfriends or girls that just like guys, whatever, that they don't ask about the regular girls that guys are liking. And let's be honest, they don't ask about the regular girls that aren't, you know, that pretty, just kind of look under the radar or normal. If they like those girls, they're not questioning those ones. They're questioning the big ones, the ones that are really pretty, the ones that have big accounts, big breasts, big ass. Those ones is like, oh, they're not questioning every girl picture the guy likes. It's the ones that stand out to them. They're like, why this one though?
Okay, well, hold on. That's interesting. I can agree with that, but I'm gonna change one thing that you said. Yeah. I don't think it's a matter of like the big ones or whatever. It's the ones that stand out to them specifically.
Yes.
Because exactly. The reality is, I've heard the argument that some women don't care if you're liking these celebrities are big, because in their heads they're thinking they're not obtainable.
Good luck.
They're thinking good luck. They're not obtainable. But even though social media kind of
nothing's
unattainable, right? It's weird. Anyway, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I love listening to this. So I think that when men are liking a picture and they think it's just a one-off, it's not. And the whole word algorithm, it to me is another way of saying your brain. That's how I look at it, because when you are clicking on one thing, it's not like 2 years from then you're going to click on that same similar looking girl. You're going to click on similar looking girls many times, over and over and over. And why are those similar looking girls coming to you? Because you clicked on the first one. And so it's kind of like a mix of what your brain is doing and what it's pumping at you, because it knows that your brain will want that. And I think
that's actually true.
This guy's dying. As soon as you said that, I thought of your pro.
That's actually true.
I think it's destructive.
My explore page is filled.
And the problem, and you know the problem with that, even members of my team have said things to me where I'm like, like they'll even about the industry. And I know that it's coming from their mindset based on their freaking algorithm. So like sex sells.
That's what they, that's what
but
they see.
actually there's people with gardening pages that have like 33 million followers too.
Yeah.
So it's really what you're seeing.
They keep consuming
that keeps coming to you and you consume it and more comes to you. Why you even think that way.
Yeah.
So now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that all the women in whomever's life even think that far.
Yeah.
But I do. But but I mean, I know that there's nothing I can do about it because from you, I will say though, like from the first like, you're going to get more and more of those. So stop liking them.
Yeah.
And then the other part that I can't stand about Instagram right now, and that's why I like things. I'm even in little groups. Sometimes I like things, but I'm very careful of what I say or what I like because everybody can see it. I can see what you're doing. If I'm following you, right? And I'm like seeing certain things, we might have some of the same algorithm. I can see what you're doing. So I can see that you've liked all these blonde curly head girls or whatever. I can actually see it. And that is annoying. And a lot of times women are seeing all of that and they might comment on that one thing, but they're seeing all of that.
Because every time they'll see your name on it.
But I actually don't think
it used to be worse before. Remember?
The actual page designated for that.
Right.
Remember that? So designated.
That one
specifically.
Yeah. So that one like is not one like. It becomes a whole fantasy in your mind and on social media.
Right.
So it doesn't end. And so where you think it's just one thing and you might forget about it and go back to your girl. I don't want to say this because I don't really know what's going on in people's minds, but then maybe you might click on that porn and you're watching the same type of girls that you're clicking on Instagram.
It's programming.
And I would say you wonder why, but you won't wonder why because all subconscious, you're just doing it. Right. And for me, that's what I'm scared of. Like when I watch my man like clicking on certain things, that's what annoys me because I know it's not just one off. And but it's happening to everybody. So it's kind of like, what can I do?
Right.
You know, what can I really do? And it's happening to us too. It's happening to us too, but in a different way. In a different way.
The thing is,
happening to us too.
I'm not gonna disagree because the reality is, it's true. Like you go. I laughed because when I looked at my Explore page, honestly, I've been obsessed with getting a dog right now.
Full of dogs?
There's a bunch of dogs like, on my Explore page. There's a bunch of like basketball, like MMA shit, and there's like some girls every now and then, but it's not dominated by women.
It's dominated by dogs.
It's dominated by dogs because all I'm looking at recently. But
it's programming.
The reason why I argue it, even though my argument is invalid, which I will fully concede, is because in my head, when I know that when I like a photo of a girl, my brain's not stuck on it. But what the app is telling me is,
this is what you want.
If you do this enough, we're just gonna show you this,
right? Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, right? So I could be, as I'm scrolling through all these dogs, I might like a girl's photo, and then that's represented in my Explore page,
right?
Where there's a bunch of dogs and there's like one girl.
And that's what messes us up too, because then we see so many butts and we're thinking that you're following all these people. And you're probably not. It's just the algorithm putting that stuff at you, depending on where you are.
I think our arguments, your argument, which is similar to my argument, is just the conscious of it. Like her argument is this is a subconscious habit. Our argument is like, I'm not consciously liking these girls, which we aren't. But the reason these women are getting upset, and men get upset, their women too, the same thing, but is the unconscious part of it that people aren't acknowledging still exists.
So what do we mostly behave off of in our life?
This is a combination of both nonstop. Because
I've heard that most of our actions are actually subconscious actions. Now that doesn't mean that one subconscious thing is going to be,
of course.
You know, from what I understand, that's what causes how we operate.
That's my Explore page.
What are you trying to show me? You trying to show me the type of girls you looking at? Blonde, curly, and you see,
look at this. And look at my,
and then he has dogs.
And then look at the very first one.
You want to. It's a dog, everybody. Just, you know,
the very first
He's
one.
He's trying to get me with the baby dog. Oh, I don't see everything else.
It's true.
That's all I've been looking at.
So
I'm like, I want a dog.
You guys are so
dogs
funny.
everywhere.
But and you know what's funny too? The whole This is another thing that I don't want to change the topic if we're not really supposed to. But one thing that I can't stand is that what we see becomes our reality, but it's not reality.
Right.
So, for example, there's this whole thing on it. Every girl can't look like an Instagram model. Every girl can't have a big butt and have plastic surgery. First of all, every girl with a big butt doesn't have plastic surgery.
Right.
We're at a point right now where we actually don't believe that people naturally even have big butts. And I'm like, what's going on here?
That's someone's actual body.
Yeah, so we actually believe, we're actually questioning women who have full lips and big butts now because there's so many women who've had surgery to have that. And to the point that it's like, it's just messed up. It's skewing how we see everything. And unfortunately, as humans, we like to categorize. And that's where we get messed up because we like to put things in groups and categories. And humans, even though some may look similar to our eye, we're not even, none of us are even close to being the same. All of us, you know what I mean? We're not the same at all. And I really hate that. Like, it's like either people are trying to package you because they think that this is how everybody is supposed to be, or they're like, that's not really you. It's probably that. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's not reality, but we're like thinking it is.
It is reality. People,
part of reality.
Yeah, it is reality, but people have a tough time. People have a tough time understanding outliers. So they need to categorize you into something that they can understand. Yeah. Right? If you're you know, if Shally does this, but she also does this. Zamora is a photographer, but he's also a boxer, but he's also a soccer player, but he's also a weight trainer. Like, what? Okay, so what are you? No, but you're a boxer, right? No, I also do. Okay, so you're a photographer. No, like, they need to process you in. But what are you though? It's like, I'm telling you what I do. I like everything. Yeah, but like, what do you do mostly? It's like they need, people can't understand that people have multiple skills, multiple avenues, directions, whatever, can change direction. So they need to process you into some form they can understand. So you telling them you're a singer, okay, so you're a singer. No, I mean, I also do this as well. Yeah, but mostly you're a singer, right?
And this is something, right? Like, it's interesting that we're talking about this because this is actually something that I'm looking at. Like how to sort of spiel yourself in the professional world. And I find it difficult personally because I am multifaceted and I've always been that way. But you're allowed
to say that.
You know?
You're allowed to I'm a multifaceted artist. Yeah, what does that mean? It means I do a lot of different shit. Like, go figure it out. Yeah. Right. But if you keep dumbing yourself down to one thing for someone else to perceive that or receive that and understand it, then you're basically limiting your own self every single time.
And there was a time where we had to do that. Yeah. When I say we had to do that, I mean literally no one would even bat an eyelash if you couldn't say that you are this. Yes. Thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And anybody who tried to say anything else, that was pretty much the end of that part of their career.
She's confused.
She's confused. So thank God for now. No, that's as much as there's some weird things going on right now. I'm happy that
it was actually she's right. It was actually frowned upon if you told someone you did a bunch of different things. Well, then they'd be like, "This guy's all over the place." Like,
no, this is super real.
Yeah, I do this. Yeah, but so you're lost.
Yeah,
you're lost.
I'm seeing that right now, like with the fitness industry, right? So because I already had a following from the creative work that I do, and this is an idea that, like, I've spoken to you about before. I don't even want to talk about the idea, actually. It's just that you and I, for example, are in this weird category of, let's just talk about photographers and videographers. We're in this weird category where we came from an athletic background first.
I did too.
Right? So
I actually did too. I don't know if I went as far as you guys did.
Yeah, and it's like the more people I come across now in my life, I'm starting to connect more with people who are like that, because I realize we have similar mentalities, right? And what's interesting is that mentality allows you to cross over into other things that you're passionate about. I wouldn't say easier, but you probably can get more success because you just understand how to navigate certain things, right? And I'm noticing now, I won't name names, but there's like definitely people who feel some type of way about some of the success that I'm getting in the fitness industry, because one, I have this transferable thing, but two, I just understand how to be multifaceted, right? Like most fitness people who are creating content for themselves, they're not gonna be able to create content that at least visually looks better than what I can do because I come from a videographer background.
But you also know this all comes down to an insecurity thing.
Yeah, I know that's what it comes down to.
Like even with, you know, Shally having a verified check, and she was saying people that knew me before, now I do have one and blah, blah. So what I do, like I came from sports and do this and I do that and do this and blah, 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 and whatever. And you do the same thing. The problem is, let's just use your example, the fitness industry. It's, from what I know on the outside, I'm not in it, but from what I know on the outside, it's a very niche, like tightly knit, like this is the way to do it. This is how we move in the fitness industry. This is, everyone kind of knows how to navigate it. Like there's rules and do's and don'ts. Like it's a very like, you're not doing fitness stuff properly, like stop. You're not a trainer, you're a trainer. That's not like this. You know what I'm saying? I know it from the outside seeing, I'm not even in it. So I'm just assuming the seemingly seamless transition for you to go from, you know, creating stuff to now, who means a trainer now? What are you talking about? Like I've been training for 5 years and, you know, what does he know about training? This guy, he's a videographer. Like, it's like, yeah, but that is just a threatened response to not being comfortable with not having other skills. Like you're basically coming into my space. Like this is what I do as a trainer per se. I've been doing this. This is how I've been doing it for years. Blah blah. Like it's like any business, or whatever. Like when companies grow and surpass them, they're just like, we've been in this space for years. This is how we do it. So when someone comes in with something new or something fresh, it's like, who do you think you are coming into this space and bringing this shit? Like, well, what the fuck is this?
It is super wild to me. Like you said it, right? Some of these people just don't have.
But they're mad that people like it. That's the problem.
Yeah, they're mad that people like it.
It's working.
And they're in this position because they don't have those skills, right? And
they had no desire to learn them, either.
And as Sean said earlier, we're talking about a time now where a lot more people were home, and it just kind of put a light on certain things that you need to have, right? So for me, just speaking about that industry, I was saying forever that, you know, in a time where people are just consuming information all the time online, if you own a gym, you own like a group fitness studio, a boutique place, you better have like an online brand. I've been saying that for the last year. You really should, because for whatever reason, people that live in fucking Hawaii will learn how to do workouts from you, even if you live in Toronto, as long as you know what you're doing and it looks good. That's just a matter of it. So me kind of walking into this industry already knowing how to properly create content, I might not have as much knowledge as some of my peers in terms of like anatomy and all these types of things, but I just know what works for the current meta we're in. You know, you play based on the rules that are given to you, and it's like, the platform's there. You just have to know how to exploit it.
I was just going to say that because I feel like for me, I relate very much. So I'm so quiet. I just actually relate on everything you've said, exact. And, you know, but I just, I feel like everything is there to be innovated on if it exists already. If it doesn't, then you create something new. You know, but
make sure to bring the mic close to your mouth when you're talking.
I apologize. Sorry.
That's okay.
My bad. I was just saying, I think everything is there to be innovated on if it already exists, and if it doesn't, you create it. But I also think that all the lines in society is all for marketing. So like literally every freaking line, because the truth is that all of the industries, really, if you want to like really touch people and really do something great, you have to use all of them. So if you actually have skills in several of them yourself, I mean, that's amazing, you know, but you actually have to use all of them. So if you have a hand in technology, but you really love music, that's amazing. Like you're going to be able to do amazing things. You can connect all of those things. When I started writing my own music, I sort of, I guess, made the best out of what came to me. But I started using a lot of reggae beats because that's what I got. I got that production. I didn't actually get hip hop producers that would, you know, how I made it happen. That's how I did it. So I just wrote whatever I knew over that. So the stuff I wrote over that, I knew R&B, I knew pop. So I wrote R&B and pop over that. When I did that, I got a lot of backlash, actually. People were like, what are you doing? This is not real reggae. This is not R&B. People who've been in R&B, doing R&B, were like, what is this? Where's she come from? I don't understand what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Now, of course, Rihanna, started to go deeper into that. Nobody had a problem with that, but then she's Rihanna. She's already where she is. She could do anything, right? But anybody else...
That's a false belief, though.
It is a false belief. But anybody else... but what I was going to get to is actually it's normal, it's natural, like as human beings, it is natural to be multifaceted. You are a multifaceted person when you come out the womb. It's not normal. It's all marketing why we do that. It's all marketing why we only sing R&B, even though R&B is a combination already of like 3 or 4 different musics. It's all marketing why we say I am a classical music pianist, even though you play jazz and you play pop when you go home. I mean, it's just a marketing thing to be able to say it so that the people...
So you're marketable in that venue.
And who's marketing us? A lot of times it's not even artists. It's not even artists who are marketing us on the bigger, levels of things. It's actually executives and, people who want to consume and they want to make it like palatable to the youngest audience, even though some of the material is not for that audience. You get where I'm going with
Yes.
So absolutely. I actually really understand what you're saying. And the heat that comes, I guess, is people, it's hard to make yourself into one thing. That's what people have done. And when they've done it and they see that you're so relaxed and fluid and just moving into these different areas, it bothers them.
Well, because that post I made the other day where I was talking about, I actually don't care about what the one thing it is that I end up doing. That's not my concern. The thing that I'm always trying to figure out, I guess, is what my purpose is in terms of because I haven't had that moment yet, because I know that I'm good at a lot of different things and I just enjoy the process of where I'm at. So I don't really have this need, because I know there's a lot of people around my age who are like, damn, I'm getting close to 30 and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I'm just like, some people don't figure it out till they're 50. Like, it is what it is.
I feel like someone like you and that attitude is what we actually need to be successful, where we can just delve in the journey. And it's sort of annoying to hear because there's all these self-help people saying this, but it's true. And it's like a childlike quality, actually, when you just get
to be malleable.
And when you get into the vibe of what you're doing and you just vibe with it. And then when it kind of, it doesn't make sense, or I might need to pick this up to do, okay, I'll do that now. And that's really how I feel that we're meant to be. I feel like we've been trained out of that so that some people can stay in it and lead, or I don't know, tell people what to do and make all the money.
I honestly absolutely agree with Zamora as well, but I think, just to add to what he's saying, our purpose, or what it is you're supposed to do or whatever, I feel like once you've done enough self evaluation, enough testing and trying things and trials and stuff, it will be selected. Like there will be a slot that you fall into and you're like, this is my shit, and that is it. And not it for you, I just mean like you evolve from that point, right? But like you'll be doing this and there'll be a slot where like you fall into and you're just sitting there, you're like, this is literally what I want. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this, and you have all those tools along the way to that point. And now you're like, you've accustomed all these, you've accumulated all these tools, and now you're in this spot where you're like, I don't feel like this anymore, but I could if I want to. I don't feel like I don't. I mean, if I really want to do this, I could. But this is my shit.
I like that, and you don't have to feel weird too if you're not 100% sure of the label that you're putting on what you're doing, but you're sure about kind of where you don't need the label. You could feel kind of good about that.
Absolutely,
the way you're saying
I think that's the reason why we have that mentality, because most people are stuck on what is it I'm supposed to do, right? Like, what is it? Whereas I'm not necessarily stuck on it, but the question I think we're asking ourselves is, why am I here? Like, which is deeper in the sense of, I know that I can do multiple things, so I'm not worried about what I'm supposed to do. Right. It's just figuring out like why I'm on this earth. It's like a more spiritual, like a deeper question, but we know that even asking that question in itself, that's like a lifelong thing. You'll figure that out at some point.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
Definitely. So we're approaching
Naturally
the last quarter of the episode.
Yeah.
And this is the part where I know you didn't come prepared on purpose because I didn't give you anything. But
I'm sweating, guys.
No.
I'm dead.
it's perfect. Yeah, so this is the part of the episode where you reached out to us or to me, or we've been speaking for a while.
Yeah.
About getting you on the show. And my question to you is, one, why did you want to come on the show? You had your own reasons of why you said you wanted to go on different podcasts and stuff, but why did you want to come on our show? And the other question would be, the other request would be, is there any question you have for us coming from a woman to two black males that have started the podcast for the last few years now? You've learned a little bit of the background about both of us. Like, is there anything you've been curious to hear from a perspective from us? Question you have for us? And go.
I told you guys this would happen.
No, it's fine.
Well, actually, I wanted to be on here because, well, first I saw Z. Actually, I didn't really know anything about you, Ryan. But I saw Z, and I saw. It was before all of that. You did something where you're just talking about your story and moving from one neighborhood to the other with your family.
Yeah.
And I think it was from like a lower middle class to like upper class neighborhood, and your experiences as a black male in that situation. And just the delivery and just the actual story itself, I just felt like I related. I don't know how to explain it, but I have very strong instincts, and I just felt like I like this guy. I can relate to his story, and I realized you're from the Toronto area, and I was like, cool, like you're doing something. I feel like it just looked proper. You know what I mean? It sounded genuine. And I said, I'd really like to connect with you because I want to connect with people who are doing genuine, proper stuff. You know what I mean? And also when I realized you were doing the podcast, I was like, perfect, because I actually want to launch my own podcast at some point, but I don't know a lot about the behind the scenes. And also I am a little nervous. So I thought, it would be great to get on this panel. I always have a lot to say. I have a lot of interesting opinions. So I just wanted to serve in that aspect. So yeah, that's mainly that. And in terms of a question,
if you got a bunch, you can rapid fire. It doesn't have to be just one.
That's the crazy thing. I feel like we'd have to have another podcast where I just come with things for us to talk about from the perspective of a woman. But
is there anything that happened in your life recently that was kind of threw you off, or something a male has done, or a fan has done, or a friend has done, or something that you normally do that you just realize no one else kind of thinks that way, that you're kind of curious if anyone else feels that way about certain things, whether it's process, whether it's decision making, how you deal with your relationship, things you allow in your relationship, things you don't allow?
I mean, I know this is just an observation, but I've been doing my self work, and I've just been noticing something about myself that I also notice in a lot of women. And I think it's coming to the forefront more and more that women are taught from so early, like we just don't listen to our own voices. Like we don't even know how to do it. And we also men are perfectionistic too, but I find women are taught that if it doesn't work, like pretty much the first 2 times, give it to a man to do. Yeah. So anyway, you're probably wondering where that's going, but the first part, I'm just wondering if you guys noticed that. Because even with the podcast thing, I've noticed that a lot of women, and I'm not putting down other women who've actually done everything themselves, but a lot of women, even with podcasts that I've come across, the setup, the cameras, this and that, a lot of the times it's their husband who did all of that for them. I've come across some women who that's the case. Or their boyfriend or some guy they're seeing. And I guess I'm just bringing up like, that's something that I've just been reflecting on a lot, about just listening more to my own voice, processing through things myself, whether I fuck it up or not, and just seeing where things go. And I think I have been that person in a lot of my journey, but a lot of my journey, I feel like I've stumped myself because I haven't allowed myself to be that person.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've just been taught that there's always someone else that has to, I don't know, fix it or make it better, or I don't know. So
it doesn't end with you.
No.
That's
I feel like it's gotten kind of worse over the years, but I've actually, because of that, and I know what's going on now, I've been just sort of putting myself in situations because I find, for me, sometimes that works best for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes just throw myself in the cold water and learn to swim. Then sit and think about what I could do, or even sometimes then sitting at home going through tutorials, sometimes being like in a thing like this helps. But I just noticed that with men, even if they don't know things, because like I know, like a lot of people think that, oh, like men, they know how to fix things. No, men don't know anything.
Yeah.
What they do is they stub their finger several times.
Yeah.
They feel the pain. They just keep trying, you know? And I feel like as women, I don't know, we just weren't taught that way, a lot of us. And I think it's changing.
Yeah.
I think it is changing, but I still am surprised at how much that stigma is still there.
Yeah.
And it frustrates a lot of men in relationships because they don't understand. And I'm not saying that's even who we are. I'm not even saying that's actually our nature. I feel like that something in that also is something that we've been taught.
Like it's deeper.
And because our world has changed, to me, that aspect, I don't feel like
has caught up.
Good for us.
Yo,
in
this
is world.
Okay, this is actually,
it's too deep to start off.
No, this is actually pretty interesting because I hear what you're saying. Like, it's what you're saying is definitely not coming across like, you know,
like women can't do shit.
Women can't do shit.
No.
That's definitely not what it is.
No.
But just speaking from the creative world, for example, what Ryan and I do, I can maybe name only 2 women in the city that do video editing. Can you name like more than 5?
More than 5?
Yeah.
That I know personally?
Yes. I know women that can shoot. I definitely know way more female photographers, like women photographers. For sure. I know a lot. I don't know many videographers that can edit as well.
I probably know 4 max.
Okay. Not that many compared to the
yeah.
So when I heard what you were saying, the reason why that pops into my head is because you brought up, you know, the podcast. Like, you see the setup and it's being done by someone else, right?
And some of them have admitted that in their podcasts that,
I've had that conversation before. Like, girls have said to me and they want to start a podcast, blah, blah, blah. And in my head, one of the first things I think of is, oh, there's a lot of work that goes into it. Not that you can do it.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of work.
I like where this is going.
And because I know that there's a lot of work, I'm just genuinely wondering, and I think this way, whether it's a man or woman saying this to me, I'm genuinely wondering if you're willing to actually put in all those hours to learn. Because Ryan and I, once again, are in this unique position where we have our own podcast, but we shoot and edit everything ourselves. You know what I mean? We don't outsource to anyone else, even though if we really wanted to, we could. We do everything ourselves. And for most people, that's not the case. Most people, they get someone else to do it, right? So I think I do agree with you. I think from a young age, men and women are taught certain things, right? Like, you got to do this. And for women, it's like, if you can try it, and if it doesn't work, then ask a man to figure it out. And then over time, I think that does become kind
just
of
innate
because even with my girl, I've had conversations where it's like talking to those customer service people, right? It's like, I grew up watching my dad cuss Rogers all the time on the phone whenever they mess up the bill or something like that. And my mom was just kind of like, Glenn will deal with it. Like, he'll deal with it. So then I just started dealing with it, right? Anytime I'd have these issues here,
you go and do it?
I go and do it,
Yeah.
right? But I would get frustrated that my partner wouldn't just go do it because I didn't feel like I was doing or saying anything differently than she would. But it's like this thing that I was just taught from a young age that I should be the one to just do this, right? So it's not that I always subscribe to
we still have the gender roles that
I know,
exist.
it's not that I always subscribe to it, but like there are times where it's like I fall into it. But then when we have things like learning to edit and shooting and like starting a podcast,
that's very non-gender specific.
It's non-gender
That's just
specific.
that's just education.
It's just education
where do you want to
at
put the time in and learn?
And I sometimes
That's not a like, oh, guys do that. Girl, there's amazing movie directors that are females.
exactly.
Oh no, I believe that. But
right.
you
Nothing-
did say there's less. So why
Yes.
is that?
It's the same, like you're saying, like it's
Wait.
there's so many of you that have been conditioned this way that like the few that break out, they break out. But if a whole group of women are conditioned a certain way, yeah, you're gonna have the people that break out of that conditioning, but you've been conditioned.
Yep.
So yeah, you're gonna have the 2-3 that still are like, fuck this conditioning, I'm out of here. And then they,
Yeah.
but some are gonna be like, some can't overcome that. And they're older, be like, I'm okay. I'm actually okay like this. Like, and
But also,
So I like that though, because I feel like that says a lot about it's not our capability, which you might say that's obvious though. But when you think that way, it's not obvious.
right.
yeah,
But it's more about us showing up and figuring out than our actual capability. And there are, don't get me wrong, there's weird men who try to make sure that we are less.
Yeah.
They really do, trust me. I didn't think so. I've been asked that question many times.
Yeah.
In the music industry, is it hard as a woman? And for years I answered no. What are you talking about?
yeah.
Until I started to notice a lot of things.
Like gatekeepers and stuff.
Gatekeepers, even artists that you're like did a show with, you opened for them, big artists, somebody important, and you're in a situation, there's a little after party, but it's just like you guys in the main area. They don't mind talking to you, and you're like, cool, let me, reach out. I have this thing that I'm working on, maybe I can work with them. And that doesn't matter if someone, it's cool if someone says no, you know what, no, I have my own project right now, I don't have time for it. That's not the type of things. I mean, one particular person was like, listen, we could talk about it in my room. I was
Like,
like,
they don't even respect you.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say they don't respect me because they didn't really know me.
Yeah.
It's not like we were talking the whole time. And it's not like I don't have a manager.
Yeah.
But that's how they respect us.
Yeah.
That's just that person. And you say, oh, that's just one man. It's not every man. And I would say it's not every man, but like there are codes in certain places, and I'm telling you, like when it comes to women, you just at least need to know the code, so you know how to maneuver within the code.
Yeah,
Because if you, because I honestly, that's not going to stop you from being successful, but you do need to know what's going on,
Yeah.
or else you're probably not going to maneuver properly to be successful. You know,
I think we're ways away, and will continue to be ways away from reaching a stage where the majority, not all, but the majority of men view women as equal business partners.
yeah, most men don't even want to represent women.
Yeah.
In management, in different areas.
It's like we're ways away, and I think part of it comes down to some of the gender role stuff and just thinking women are weaker and blah blah. But I think another part of it comes down to just truthfully hormonal. Like I just think it's a lot of has to do with hormones, where it's like men in business are successful or whatever, or an agent or blah blah, and a girl comes to them, a pretty successful businesswoman, artist, dancer, whatever, comes to them like on some professional shit, like, hey, like I would love to work with you. Like hormones are like, wow, she's pretty. Like it's just the first thing is like, this.
And
wow.
unfortunately, we've been geared,
It's not your fault. It's not
our fault because we are who we are, but we also are geared to present ourselves a certain way on purpose.
Yeah.
right.
And that is true.
It's a hit
I'm
and
going to
miss.
talk to that big manager person, and I'm not
Right.
going to show up in jogging pants with a low, deep voice. No, I mean, that's
So,
how we're geared to not do that.
100%.
So,
So you walk into an office of a big agent, whatever, and you're like, this is the guy you talk to. Okay, cool. He gets there. He's a man. And you know, you get there and you look good, your eyes are done, everything's done, your body looks great, and you're there professionally. You're like, yeah, this is my look when I'm on stage. I'm just here like as if I'd be on stage. Hey, I love to work with you. First thing is like, wow, she's pretty. Okay, cool. Second thing is like, yeah, I have the proposal. Yeah, I heard you. But yeah, so you know, like they versus if it's a guy that's a rapper who comes with agents, like, I'm not attracted to you, so what's up? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's
And honestly, it is the person, because I'll tell you right now, if you're like a money over everything thing, you will notice that person's attractive, but you'll be thinking dollars.
Right.
You'll be thinking about that short term
100%.
situation. So not everybody's like that, but anyway, I just wanted to bring up these little nuances. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great to hear
It's-
y'all's opinion.
It's
on it,
interesting, like,
you know?
when we talked about what you and I do, I just been sitting here thinking about, you know, women in my life who are in the same industry as us, who like either just do photography or maybe they shoot. And it's like, you asked earlier, like, why do they not do it kind of thing. Personally, like, I just think when it comes to editing, like editing videos, for example, from what I've seen, I've just found that like most women aren't interested in that. Like, they're not interested in that aspect of it. That I've come across. A lot more interested in like the direction and design of like how it's going to look, the creative direction behind things,
rather than the technical
side of it, right? Because plenty of time I've worked with plenty of, you know, like women DPs and all that type of stuff, and the rule for them is, this is the shot that I want to get. This is what I want to get.
Now you do it.
And now for me, it's like, I have to figure out how to achieve that shot. And whether it's a man or woman, when people say, if I go to Ryan and I say, I want this shot, Ryan will immediately think, okay, how he's asking for this crazy shot that I don't even think he realizes is difficult to get.
Yeah.
But I have to figure out how to do it.
Right.
You know, it's something that any freelancer comes across all the time. And, you know, going back to gender roles, there is the idea that women are just more creative than men, right? And I think that plays into it as well. So, and
some of it is hardwiring, and some of it is taught. Like when I say hardwiring, I mean caveman instinct.
Yeah,
whatever.
of course. I think it's changing. I think it's slowly changing. As Ryan said, we're like a way off. But I think there's next generation, people born in 2000s afterwards, they're growing up in technology. That's all they know. I mean, these I hate to say, but these kids who are using TikTok and Snapchat and all these types of making these dance videos and all that stuff. As a videographer, I don't know if you thought this too, Ryan, but sometimes when I see some of these videos, I'm like, yo, this teenager knows how to do like basic in-camera transitions.
Like they could actually be making money off
like
other people.
Potentially, but it's like
their head just like they've been they're learning the technical stuff as a joke.
Yes.
Like they're learning like very intricate technical like tools as a joke, as for fun, for likes, and like, but they're doing this like, oh yeah, just do this and now I'm invisible. It's like what?
Like you see, have you seen those videos where like people
looping through and shit?
Where, like they put their head down. It's like
that's wild.
I'm like, yo,
but the thing is,
I know what it takes to do that on a computer, and these people do it on a phone, and I'm like, oh, okay.
And they have the mental capacity to be doing that so young, because they're like, as much as we've learned different things, him and I in the video space and stuff, like we're still learning. Like these kids, like the best example.
Now, don't get me wrong, TikTok has some Jedi mind tricks that
not even just TikTok. Not even just, there's young videographers doing mad videos right now, like 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds doing crazy travel videos and stuff. Like what the hell's going on? But him and I, we're still learning at our age. Like we're still like, we're on the end curve of like social media. Like we got it when it kind of started. We're in it. We're still learning. Like these kids are built in it, where it's like, it's literally the difference between me learning to play basketball at age 15 and the kid having a trainer from age 4.
And that is literally like, the difference. Because
if I pick up basketball at 15, 100%. Like I'll get good by 30. But the kid that got trained from 4, he will pass me. Easy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I might make the NBA first, but that kid from 4 will do much better than I could ever do. So the kids now that are born in it, and I think was more saying with the next generation, like that next generation might actually remove gender roles, because there's girls and guys are just as good at the same type of shit right now because they're both born on an equal level. But when us and our generation, like, if we're being honest, girls didn't really care about the technical stuff. I know girls and women now, like girlfriends and moms and whatever, they're like, I don't really care about the computer stuff. Like, there's people that just don't give a shit about that stuff in our group. Like, you just,
and most of the tutorials, even when they're being done by older people, when you go in the comments, it's the young kids that are actually, a lot of them are the ones who are commenting and on there. And a lot of those people are showing them, you know, even more things, and they're just taking it in and just doing. Yeah. And I think it's amazing. And I mean, I don't think all gender roles should be removed, but I think that we're moving toward an aspect of people that are just going to be way more free. Yeah. You know, and I'm loving it. I'm honestly loving it. Like most people like us, a lot of our people, they're not loving it. They think that this is a catastrophe. The world's shutting down. And I'm kind of like, no, maybe it's going to start now. Because I just feel like the way that the fly of the seat of our pants thing that everybody's been doing, and just the fakeness. And it's just like, how long could that really last for though? Yeah. Like
if you're big enough, let's say I'm Ryan's management and he's going to go on this podcast, I still have to vet him. Like prepare him for it the same way I would an interview because of how much more raw it is. Whereas
you can't just say anything.
Yeah, and like an interview, I can be like, as a management, I need to know the questions in advance. So that way you don't railroad my client.
Well, but I will say, I love you, Planet Rock. I've been forgiven, but generally that is how things would be done. And Planet Rock, love you very much, allowed me to be here today without a lot of vetting on their end because they trust me. However, that did, we had a conversation because I kind of just wanted to do this and don't know what I'm going to say or what's going to come up. And I mean, because of for marketing angles and reasons, people have sometimes their main things are trying to market you as, show you as, if you say this, it's going to ruin all of it. But I actually, the truth overall, I don't believe that exists anymore. This is why people like even a Tekashi 6ix9ine, who's very controversial. If he shows being able to do a clean interview even once, he'll have a million people still wanting him to be on TV because people still want hits. They still want ratings. You just have to keep it a certain way for that interview. But
it is interesting though, like thinking about how a podcast can, obviously like any interview or podcast can make or break your celebrity, like change it. But imagine like when Drake was on that Rap Radar podcast, right? People tuned in because it's 2 hours of you getting to hear Drake talk. But
and like candidly for the first time.
Candidly, right? But like imagine on that podcast, he says that, what if he says, he's like, I'm really into video games. I play games when I'm like in my spare time. Now perceptions change. Like not of him in a bad way. It's like, oh, now more people like, I'm going to start playing video games now. I'm going to start doing this. So,
and now if his people are smart, they're going to be like, yo, you need to show more about what video games you play and all of that. So they don't just take that and run to someone else with it.
Another funnel.
So it's actually good.
Yeah.
Thanks. This was good. This was fun. Thank you for coming by.
I love it.
Yeah, we haven't had a guest in a few weeks now. So this was refreshing. And your episode number 81.
Okay.
So welcome to the team.
Well, thank you, because I hope to not be a guest forever. Wink, wink.
No, you're not gonna wait. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on social media. Instagram, I guess it's the most poppin'. So Shally Sings, SHALLISINGS, and any other social media that you can think of, including TikTok and YouTube.
What are you doing on TikTok?
All that. Exactly.
No, like literally, what do you do on TikTok?
Guy, I need your help.
Me? I ain't on that shit.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in that episode. This was dope. Until next week.
Edit that out.
Hey, nothing gets edited out of this shit. Nothing. Until next week, guys. See y'all.
Peace.
Hello? We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.